Some time ago, Venerable Jampa called me aside and she said, "Do you realize that when you're typing on your computer during the teachings, you're angry? You're doing it with anger?" And I was really surprised. "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you're going fast, but you're angry. It must be something having to do with how you did it at work." And I was completely taken by surprise and not really connecting with that. And then she said to me, "If you give up the anger, you probably type even faster." And I was so surprised. But it was Venerable Jampa, so there was no way to doubt that she actually witnessed what she was saying. But I had absolutely no experience of that. But it prompted me to pay attention, right? And I was thinking, really, in the teachings, I'm usually just focused on what Venerable is saying. I usually enjoy the teachings. And so I didn't have quite the connection of being angry. But because Venerable Jampa mentioned it, I decided that I would pay attention. So I started to pay attention to how I was typing during teachings. And guess what I found? I was attacking the keyboard, and that was surprising. But it prompted me really to look at how I move through space and what I do with my body. I am normally a very anxious person, so I already know that there is anxiety and tension running through my body very much 24/7, even when I am asleep. But this added factor of anger had not really been something that I had noticed. So I observed, and here are some of the things that I observed. I was thumping as I walked, particularly in this building, but I assumed just about everywhere else. But in this building, it's easier to hear, and it helps when you have Venerable Yeshe pointing at the fact that you're thumping, you're walking really loudly. So I said, oh, okay, this is a second now red flag about something happening in my body that I'm not aware of. So I continued observing, and I realized, wait, I am clenching my mouth. There's something else there, and sometimes I even really tense my hand and shoulders. And so I started to think, to try to connect, how is anger then coming into my body at these particular times? Because I don't have the awareness at that time of being angry when I'm doing these movements. So then I realized that, well, if there are thoughts in my mind that I am running just at a low level, I'm ruminating on things that make me angry and I'm not even noticing that. Or other situations is that I might have been ruminating on angry thoughts earlier and that energy stayed in my body, and now as I'm moving through, that energy is coming across. I also noticed that there were times when I was doing certain activities and I became irritated, and I had this tendency of throwing things or slamming things, or just having this sort of energy move through my body and making it just really, how can I say, it's a very jarring movement, very jarring movements coming through. And so I decided I really do not want to move like this. I really do not want to carry this anger with me, because it not only affects my mental state, but it affects everybody around me. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you hear in the kitchen somebody throwing things and making a lot of noise, the first thing you think about is, oh wow, that person is angry. Or if somebody just comes into the room and they're walking really thumping their feet, the first thing you think about is that person is angry. And it does have a repercussion in your own state of mind, that energy. And so I did not want to have my angry energy also affecting and spreading to other people around me. And so I began to do a lot of work with this energy. The first thing that I did was I started to focus a lot on breathing meditation during my meditation sessions, because it helps calm the mind. And as we know, there is a very close relationship between the body and the mind. So I figured if I worked on the mind, that will have an effect on my body and how I move. And then I also realized, well, this is a two-way street. So if I work on my body, that will also have an impact on my mind. And I began to notice that as I was more aware of how I was moving, as my movements, I made an effort, conscious effort, to make my movements more gentle, more silent, and slowing down, I noticed how my mind was not so tight anymore. And I started to notice moments of actual calm and relaxation. My mind became more peaceful. So it has been a very, I think, productive exercise to try to work with anger and anxiety, not just from the mind outwards, but also from the body in. I began to walk more softly and to pay more attention as I was moving, carrying things, putting things on the table, to do it with a gentle movement, to convey that gentleness to my mind as well. So it's a work in progress. And I recall also another comment that Venerable Jampa said. She called me the speedy nun, because I guess she observed me many times running between buildings or walking really fast. And if she's watching, I want to tell Venerable Jampa that I'm working on slowing down. Thank you.